Que isso? Deve ser o que a gente quer.
Sitting tight. Let's roll out then. Virgil.
This place doesn't look like much, does it? I didn't believe this was Randall's old joint until I checked inside. Shame that it's been left abandoned. That painting is something to see. I figured it was a matter of time before you showed. Rumors spread like the clap in the Mojave. At any rate, you're here in all your glory. The Courier. Do you get tired of that title? It's not very imposing, you know? Maybe that's the beauty of it. Nobody expects to be downed by a messenger. Hey, here's your letter. Oh, and you're dead. Do you pronounce it courier or courier? Probably doesn't matter. Tomato, tomato.
Não se fala o que você quer.
It's a matter of what I need, actually. My job is to relay a message from my supervisor, a fellow by the name of Marco. See, he's rather upset over his brother's death, and he wants to settle with you, in Utah. It's a very long trip. Luckily, I know the way.
Marco. Não, gente. Onde esse cara apareceu?
You are tightly wound, you know that? Just relax, hero. You'll get there soon enough. First, you're gonna help me with some business here. There are a few contacts here in the Mojave that I need to sort out on behalf of Marco's business interests. Funny thing is that there's some overlap with your past work. I managed to look through some of Randall's old records in the shack. To his credit, the man kept very meticulous records. He must have been quite the typist. Anyway, if you want to reach Utah, first you'll help me solve problems. Sort of like bounty hunting. Oh, and don't worry, you won't have to kill any women or children. Nothing that might compromise your code. These pretty much have it coming.
Não tem escolha, né?
That depends. Everybody likes choices in life, so let me varnish my offer so there's an illusion of freedom. You can swallow your pride and help me, which will doubtlessly provide opportunities for enrichment, conversation, and all manner of excitement. Or, you can forgo my offer and fecklessly wander the wastes, wondering how you let a chance at Marco slip through your fingers. I'm sure some people would consider them equally valid choices.
Tá bom, vou te ajudar.
What a team we'll be. I can't wait! Gotta make a little stop before we meet the first guy. Here's the spot on your map. See you there.
Não parece que vai dar coisa boa. Bugou de novo. Desbugou.
We're hunting shitheads.
Tá aí. Boa.
Someone's looking to cash their chips early. Let's paint this place red.
Don't worry, boss. You'll know if I find anything.
Ah, o que você tá fazendo com isso?
Amazingly, they still manage to outwit a half-blind arthritic ghoul. Sure. I'll stop using my rather effective gun
Unless I'd
and
insist
switch
if
to
I get gangrene
this piece.
or we find a duck.
Sure thing, boss.
Yep.
Purely thanks to your brilliant leadership, boss.
I'll hold up. Let's
Right
hit the
behind you,
road.
boss.
Yes? Do you always imagine elaborate, contrived showdowns with your antagonists? I'm afraid Marco's a touch more pragmatic in his outlook. Don't worry, he'll fight you on his own terms when the time's right. First, I have to see to his interests while he stabilizes things in Utah. He told me that Sergio came here, squared off with you in some mountain town. Didn't work out well for him, did it? Do you want Marco that badly? You have to know that it's risky going up to Utah.
Realize aqui.
Oh, you escaped the icy clutches of death, so now you don't fear anything, huh? That's a tired cliche. Getting popped by some thug dressed like a chessboard is one thing. Facing off with Marco is something else. Yes? It was given to me when I came of age, so very long ago. Though it's unsightly and cumbersome, there's no questioning its value. The targeting alone has saved my skin more than a few times. Of all the paths I've walked, all the trials I've endured, it's been constant. Yes, this Pip-Boy is better than a loyal hound. Certainly superior to a wife. God, it's not even close. I had a non-traditional upbringing, with the requisite amount of violence for wasteland standards. Marco found me when I was a young man. I was just a thug when we met, He saw something in me, something I didn't know about myself. He just has that ability. It's uncanny. He pushed me to become more proficient at violence, but also instilled the urge to educate myself. It's amazing what learned slaves can teach you. I have no doubt I would have perished in some scrape back east if I hadn't met Marco. I would have been another anonymous, forgotten raider. Some gang members came and went, like Red Bear. They feared Marco, so their presence was usually ephemeral. There was always a core, though. We stay loyal to Marco because he wins every time, against all odds. There's profit, but also brotherhood. Is it the same with your group?
Eles me respeitam, meu irmão. São tudo brother.
Respect? All the time, even when someone is drunk or careless? I wonder how you tolerate their flaws, and vice versa.
Tá bom. Verde. Tá bugado, velho.
Ah, you made it. The fiends really know how to make a neighborhood their own, don't they? Speaking of fiends, you remember Eileen, right? Slightly unbalanced gal who liked to sever men's genitalia? Yeah, hard to forget. Way back when you knocked her off, NCR started telling people that it was finally safe to start moving in around here, due to law and order. Well, as you probably know, the fiends were a bit more resilient than they had expected. Oh, and it turns out Eileen wasn't even the worst one. Actually, she kept some of the more savage elements in line with the threat of emasculation. What a word, emasculation. Shout it to the heavens. After you disposed of Eileen, a nice gentleman named Troy took over her crew. He was no power player, but he certainly left his mark. You see, Troy was a chronic rapist, even worse than old Cook. Not long after the Owen family moved in here, Troy paid him a visit. Let's go inside and see his handiwork, shall we?
Peraí, como é que eu entro nessa casa? É cheiro de mod conflitando com o outro. Peraí.
You know, if I knew that I caused this, even in a crazy roundabout sort of way, that would just eat me up inside. Sort of awkward now. That's the spirit. Denial. I love it. As a kid, my dad, a raging wild drunk, would regularly beat us, then refuse to acknowledge it. Later I found out that smashing someone's kneecaps with a bat tends to correct the problem. They also confess a lot. A kneecap revival, if you will. Relax, we're not going down that road. When you're 13, you do all sorts of things that make you cringe later on. Hormones, I suppose.
Cringe.
Point is, old Pappy stayed in denial until it blew up in his face, or his kneecaps. You can lie to yourself, but the truth will have its day. On that note, let's go deliver some truth to Troy. You can even use the bat technique if you want. See you there.
Nossa, mano. O que aconteceu aqui, cara? por aqui mesmo.
Staying low.
I just love a quick jaunt through the ruins of a dead city. Makes me feel privileged to be alive. Maybe that's just me. I suppose we should make our way to Troy now, seeing as to how you're a famous, cold-blooded, God-fearing and bounty hunter. I'll follow your lead. One thing though, please don't cut off random fingers in the hopes of collecting a reward. After you.
Ah, vou cortar.
What is it? I suppose in a strange way he's not much different from you, courier. He was forged in violence, reborn a survivor. He's not exceptional in any physical sense, nor is he the most intelligent man I've met. I suppose it's his will that sets him apart. There have been times when most men would have succumbed to defeat or even death, yet Marco won in the end. He told me about the time he was captured by raiders back east. They ate Marco's comrades and forced him into servitude. He went along with it, ingratiating himself with the leader and even proving himself as a capable cook. The raiders grew to trust him. He was eventually offered the chance to join their ranks, on the condition that he prove his ability to kill without hesitation. While he had certainly killed before, this was different. He was ordered to slaughter the family of a random farmer, a fellow by the name of Randall. Given your history with Randall, I have no doubt he's told you what transpired. Marco killed them all in front of Randall in gruesome fashion. The slavers' leader was so impressed that he made Marco his right-hand man. Marco soon exceeded all expectations as a raider. It seemed as if Marco had assimilated into this new lifestyle with no regrets or grudges, for a time. Then, they ran into a rival group of raiders. On the eve of their battle, Marco sedated the leader and carried him to the rival encampment. With a rapt, surprised audience in full view, Marco blinded, castrated, and paralyzed his leader, then announced his intentions. He declared himself leader of the rival tribe and would face anyone who thought himself more worthy. None challenged him. With his intimate familiarity with his original clan's tactics, Marco led his men to an easy victory. The fate of the captured raiders was grim. Most were blinded, emasculated, and crippled, much like the leader. Additionally, they were disemboweled. For days, Marco allowed his dogs to feed on the entrails of the dying men, taking care to ensure their survival long enough to extend the agony. They all died eventually, except the leader. He had a much worse fate. They say Marco carted him about for years, caged like an animal. He was a living reminder that crossing Marco could bring a fate far worse than death. No one ever questioned him.
Seus bandos de nojento. Você deve se sentir culpado, velho.
Marco always said, man is the measure of all things. In this world, you make your own law for yourself and those closest to you. Talking about right and wrong is delusional and self-indulgent. If you had traveled and seen what I have, you'd appreciate the truth in this. Seen towns where they ate people but wouldn't let the women out in public for fear of immorality. Other places they killed kids for stealing food. Deep down, everybody has an idea about what's right. Sleeping with another man's wife? It's okay, she's unhappy. How about robbery? Oh, they're rich. Marco taught me to look within, trust my own instincts, and most importantly, to do what it takes to stay alive. He always looked after his people. So to answer your question, I don't feel guilty. There ain't no heaven or hell, just this rock. And I'll get mine while I'm here.
Parece o Walter White.
I want to know what a feet-sniveling worm coined the term bad guy. Probably some spineless wretch who relied on stronger men for his safety. You know what bad means to me? It means you're strong, you endure when others listen to that pussified voice inside, lay down and die. I don't know about your world with all its nations and laws, but in my world, good is raw flesh that's stripped and eaten by the hungry. What would you do without a few bad men around? No job for starters. You're only as good as the man across from you. It's what builds you. You've smoked a few lowlifes and now you're supposed to be special? You're just another meatbag with an expiration date. The hubris of it, to call me bad. There will come a time when you'll wish you had more bad in you, because good lets you down in the end.
É psicopata.
Why wouldn't it be about Sergio? Even bad men love their brothers. You might say their mutual interests made them closer. You're not completely off base, though. Before Sergio was killed, Marco had already heard some of the stories coming out of the Mojave. People talked about some courier who was all but unstoppable. A veritable force of nature by all accounts. That didn't sit well with Marco. I guess on some level he wants to prove that you're no better than the rest of us mere mortals. Or at least not better than him. You've been riding high since you ducked the Reaper. Maybe too high. If you aren't careful, you'll get a nasty lesson in mortality soon enough.
Tinha crescido vault.
Do you find that remarkable? Most people have rather strong assumptions about vault dwellers. We're all naive, agoraphobic shut-ins, right? Some of them never adapt to the outside, but me, I never liked being trapped. As a boy, I constantly dreamed of life beyond the vault. I escaped through literature and comic books. Never cared for school itself. My father punished me, even destroyed my books. I didn't care. I could paint grand vistas in my mind, climbing to the highest peaks while taking in real sunlight, breathing unfiltered air. My father hated his lot in the vault, working maintenance. He hated even more that I was content to spend my time withdrawn from his world. He drank a lot, beat me and my brother when things boiled over. Overseer was a real traditional type, didn't want to interfere, so nothing changed. Dad had plans for me. Maintenance and repair in the vault, an auspicious occupation. I probably would have killed myself if I'd stayed in that vault.
Você escapou.
When I was 13, the water chip gave out, so we had to make contact with the outside. I wanted to leave with the scouting expedition. Dad said no. I planned on sneaking out with my kid brother. Couldn't leave him with Dad. I got caught, and the old man pummeled me unconscious. I ended up in the infirmary. Dad wound up in his cell. Didn't last, though. Overseer released him the next day. He had critical skills. You see, I found that life is a series of epiphanies. Some are minute, others hit you like a freight train. I had a big one in the infirmary. I realized that the rules would always work against me in my dreams. Somebody with money or power pulls the strings, snuffs them out. It was that realization that finally pushed me over the edge. Or made my balls drop. One night I picked up Dad's bat and bashed his kneecaps. He cried like a little girl, apologized and confessed till he was hoarse. My stepmom stayed out of it. She was a timid soul. I told them that me and my brother were leaving, and that they shouldn't bother trying to find us. Dad just sobbed and nodded. There was a skeleton crew guarding the entrance, so we slipped out before they found Dad. Don't know what became of him. Knowing what I know now, I only wish I'd finished that bastard off. He was a waste of life.
O que aconteceu depois de fugir?
We left at night, but it was still disconcerting at first seeing the sky above you, like an ocean bearing down on you. You feel so small. We adjusted soon enough, just kept walking east. It was so stupid in hindsight. A couple of kids with a baseball bat, nothing more. You see, back east there aren't all these nations like you have here. It's just towns and tribes with no real order. We had no idea. I wish I could tell you we found a town and everything worked out. Not the case. We were picked up by slavers led by a man named Dickie. Dickie ran a roaming band who would lease out slaves to towns or raiding crews. To his credit, he was a sharp trader. I thought I had taken some harsh beatings, but the slavers made Dad seem like some grandma with an old switch. They were merciless. It only bothered me when they hit my brother, though. He was no more than 8 at the time, so they planned on making him a sex slave. I despised Dickie not because of his cruelty, but because he was always smiling, whistling, making cracks. Dad may have been an abusive cretin, but at least he imparted some mechanical know-how. That's how I got the slave collars off. We ran until our blood burned and our bare feet bled, then ran some more. Dickie was tracking us with dogs. It was closed when I spotted the town. In that moment I knew we wouldn't make it. Dickie and his crew were too fast, so I sent my brother off towards the town while I backtracked. He made it. I didn't. If I'd known what awaited me, the sheer hell of it, I might have killed myself before they took me.
Que história maluca. Quem é esse cara, velho? Do jeito não é aqui não. Às vezes eu não tenho paciência. Mano, o que vocês estão atirando? Mano, é aqui mesmo? Ai. Não, pelo jeito tem um bug aqui, galera. E é assim que você resolve. Aí. Ah, Fallout.
Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing here?
Troy. You have been a busy little boy, haven't you? All that robbing and raping